Hello guys, my name is Christopher and this is my channel Cambro, where I'll be doing my first ever card review. I'll be talking in this episode about the Investigators, about in the upcoming deluxe box, Path to Carcosa. So if you never have heard of Arkham Horror, it's a living card game from Fantasy Flight, where you and a couple of friends investigate, fight monsters, and try to uncover some grand mystery. So this is the core box, which came around, I'm not entirely sure, I believe it came in October or somewhere around there last year. Then in January, I believe, we got the first deluxe box, the Dunwich Legacy. And the Dunwich Legacy just ended like a month ago, I believe. And now we are coming up to the Path of Carcosa. It was released, I think it was up for sale at least, at Gen Con, which is a game convention in the States, I want to say. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure it's in the States. And in this, today's episode, we'll be talking about the upcoming Investigators in the Path to Carcosa, because the Investigators, that's pretty much the big part of this game. So this will be a card review of the Investigators that are coming in the Path to Carcosa. I'll be speaking a little bit what I think, how they'll work, what's good with them, what's bad with them, and I haven't tried a single one of them, of the Investigators yet. So if I'm totally wrong, we'll probably see that in a couple of weeks, hopefully. But I'll be talking on what I think. So I'll start right up. This is Mark Harrigan, the Soldier. He's a guardian. 3 will, 2 intellect, 5 combat, and 3 agility. 9 health and 5 sanity. So first thing that comes to mind is that his stats are actually quite high. They combine to a total of 13, which I believe it's quite high on the total. I believe most of the what is it called? Most of the core have like 12. Yeah, Roland has 12, Daisy has 12, Skid has 12, Agnes has 12 also, and Wendy has 12 as well. Yeah, so they all have 12, and I believe the same is true for, I'll check, for the Dunwich Legacy. So I haven't really prepared, as you might be able to tell. I'm just going along and speaking my mind, so... I won't, for the record, maybe I should have said that first, I won't be talking about the cards, the investigator cards or the Mythos card. I haven't even looked at the Mythos cards yet for the Dunwich, the Path to Carcosa. But I won't even be talking about the investigator cards. So if you don't want those spoiled, that's fine. I won't be talking about them. I'll only be talking about the investigators, which has already been spoiled. So it has 12 as well. 12. Yeah, so it looks like they all have 12. So he's actually at 13, which makes him, like, from the get-go, very strong in terms of stat. So let's see what he said. You begin the game with Sophie in loving memory in play. And then there's a reaction. After damage is placed on a card you control, draw 1 card, limit once per phase. And his Elder Sign abilities +1 for each damage on Mark Harrigan. He'll burn the entire town down if necessary, but he won't let those monsters take anyone else. So, from the get-go, he looks very similar to Roland. He has the veteran trait as well. I don't know if that does anything though. No, he's actually stronger than Roland. I thought Roland had 5 as well. So he's the strongest one, right? Because Zoe only has 4 as well. I'm basically certain about. Yeah. So he's the stronger one. 5 combat is really strong. But we have to look at these his signature cards and weakness and this Sophie to really say how good it is. So we'll start with Sophie in Loving Memory, because that's probably the most interesting one. So this is Sophie in Loving Memory. I haven't read any of the Lord, but I believe this was his maybe wife or girlfriend, which probably passed away. So it's an asset, no cost, item spirit, Mark Harrigan deck only. Sophie cannot leave play. We'll come back to that later. And then there's a fast, take 1 direct damage. You get +2 to your skill value for this skill test. And then there's a forced, if he has 5 or more damage on him. If Mark has 5 or more damage on him, flip Sophie. So we won't talk about the flip side just yet. We'll start talking in the Loving Memory side. So +2 to your skill value for that skill test. That is so strong, I believe. That's an unexpected courage, like at any time. And there's no, like, it doesn't exhaust this. Also, I realize you can do this twice, maybe even 3 times if you really, really need to pass a test to get +6, +4 or +6. You'll take 3 direct damage that way, which probably isn't the best, but you could. I think this is really, really strong. And the fact that you take 1 direct damage. Mark Harrigan's reaction is after a damage is placed on a card you control, draw 1 card. And you control, Mark Harrigan controls his card. I mean, you control the card. So when you trigger Sophie, you'll get 2 plus skill test and you get to draw a card. That is so good. And if that card is like a vicious blow, there should be a window. Yeah, you have a window to still commit that. I'm pretty sure. I haven't looked at the time chart. Maybe I should have done that, but I'm pretty sure you can. So that is really, really good. That's like instant card draw, which sounds really good to me. Though you can only do this once per phase. You can still do it 4 times each round, but you'll take 4 damage from it, which probably isn't the best if you have to trigger it from Sophie every time. But that sounds really good. Yeah. And this is also this is not forced. You don't have to draw this card. So every time you trigger Sophie, you don't have to draw a card, which is sometimes might be good if you're replaying the Dunwich Legacy with Mark. You maybe don't want to draw cards in those milling scenarios. I won't speak too much in depth about the milling mechanics. If you haven't played the Dunwich Legacy, you might still want to do that. And he has 9 health, so he can do this like a lot of times without going down. So let's see what happens if she flips though. So Sophie, it was all my fault, and it's a weakness item, madness. Sophie cannot leave play. You get -1 for each of your skill value. If Mark Harrigan has 4 or less damage on him, flip Sophie. So she'll flip back if you manage to heal up. And this is a really bad effect though. This is a cursed luck, like permanently. You probably want to be packing a lot of healing items. Stuff like, let's see. A card that comes to my mind is the, where is it though? I think it's in the Miskatonic. Yeah, Emergency Aid. A card which I haven't really played a lot with. But it's a really efficient healing card. You heal, choose an investigator to your location, heal 2 damage from that investigator. For Mark Harrigan, that's +4 to a skill test for 1 card. Another thing, if you manage to have Daisy as your as a partner, if she's packing medical text and walking like besides you, she can heal you constantly, and you can chuck those direct damage on Sophie and boosting yourself up, as long as you don't get below 4, or wait. If you have 5 or more damage on you. So if you have 5 more, so if you have 4 or less HP or health, then she flips. It's a little clunky. You have to be careful. It's not when he has 5 HP left. It's when he has 5 damage on him. So be careful not to flip her too early or flip her back too soon. And this is like the Sophie cannot leave play. I'm not entirely sure why they have worded it that and not just made it permanent. I believe it's due to, if it was permanent, maybe it wouldn't be able to flip. Perhaps. I'm not entirely sure. But this is pretty much permanent because it starts and plays and it can never leave. You see, it doesn't have a cost, so there's no way to replay it. This is really cool. And this is not even his signature card though. But this is a strong effect. Let's continue. Oh, how long have we been recording? Okay, already 10 minutes. Jeez, I have to might have to hurry up though. So this is his signature card, the home front, skill, practiced, expert, and there's 4 combat icons. Mark Harrigan takes only if this skill test is a success during an attack. Move 1 damage from Mark Harrigan to attacking enemy. So this is a healing vicious blow, which is really good. It works probably super well with Mark since he's all about that damage, healing. So he's always above 4 HP. So yeah, I mean it's not the strongest signature card, but I think it's really good. And then his personal weakness, Shellshock weakness flaw. Revelation. For every 2 damage on you, take 1 horror. When I first saw this card, I thought it was a basic weakness. On the paper, it doesn't look that bad. How much damage will Mark probably has when... Oh, sorry about that. When that triggers. Let's say he has 4 damage on him. Then that's 2 horror. That's the same for Wendy. And this horror is not even direct. So if you have like Brother Savior or I don't know, something else that can soak horror, you can put the horror on that ally or asset. So yeah, I mean he's a guardian, so he's not that good with sanity. But if you though have like 1 HP, this probably will kill you though. It'll do 4 horror, so be careful about that. Try to always be at least on a odd number of damage on you, so because this rounds down. If you have 1 damage, this does 0 horror. So let's look at his backside. Deck size 30, nothing new there. Guardian, level 0 to 5, nothing new there. Neutral, 0 to 5, and Tactics, level 0. So, Tactics, level 0, that's really interesting. That's the first, like, trait. No, Rex gonna take fortune cards, but yeah, this is the first trait in the options. So let's look, what kind of tactics cards are there? There aren't a lot. There are not a lot. 2 are from the part of the Carcosa, so we won't talk about those. But I've got a plan you'll probably never use as Mark. Backstab, probably never use. Barricade, I don't think you'll ever use. Cunning Distraction, you're better off killing everything. These are guardians who can already. Elusive though, you might want to include elusive if you're playing what's it called, the Carnival, Curse of the Carnival. You might be able to want to include elusive because it's such a versatile card in that scenario. You could move, like jump all across the canals and stuff. Flare you can't take because it's a level 1. You could only take level 0. Shortcut, maybe. Yeah, shortcut might be a good include. And sneak attack, I don't see why you would ever use. Yeah, so shortcut and maybe elusive. I guess this will, like, as the card pool increase, you'll have more options to pick from. Yeah. So restriction, the signature card, signature weakness, and 1 random basic weakness. So that's Mark Harrigan, the soldier. He looks really strong though. He'll be killing stuff quite good. He's good. Like it's not. He won't find clues though. He has no reliable way of finding clues. It's the flashlight, and that's not. You're probably better off letting someone else find the clues for you. Uh, Decent willpower, incredible combat. And agility, I don't think you'll ever use because you'll probably just kill everything. So let's move on. This is Min Thin Pan, I believe it's pronounced Min. I probably will just call her Min. She's from Taiwan, I believe it was. No, Vietnam. Yeah. So I might butcher her name. I'm sorry about that. So she's a seeker, assistant, willpower 4, intellect 4, combat 2, and agility 2. And she has 7, 7 insanity and health. So like Wendy. So her reaction is after an investigator at your location commits a card to a skill test, that card gains wild icon until the end of the test. Limits one for each investigator per round. And her elder sign is +1, and you may choose a skill card that was committed to this skill test to return it to its owner hand after this test ends. So you pitch unexpected courage, that's +3 now. You pitch, I don't know, quick thinking, the one that lets you take an extra turn, that's +2 wild icons. And this is for every investigator. So if you're 3 people at the location, even if you're not even throwing a card that commits to the skill test, you'll still at least commit 1, and you probably will commit at least a card that's the right icon. So that's basically 3 unexpected courage at least. If you're committing like a 2 card, like an unexpected courage overpower, then you're chucking 3 matching icons per investigator. That is good. That's really good. This is a support character though. Get no mistake. When it comes to like gathering clues, Rex will wreck her. Obviously, I don't think anyone will ever beat Rex in the gathering clue department. So yeah. And her elder sign, I mean, you won't be able to reliably depend on it. But if you manage to, like, if you shock up, I don't know. Well, it doesn't have to be your card either. So if a guardian shocks like a vicious blow, or a seeker commits a deduction, you can return that card to the owner's hand. And I think you can actually play Min and another seeker. Because she's a support role. I don't think she'll like focus on gathering clues. If that's the only seeker you have in the party, yeah, she probably have to find those clues. But I think she wants to follow people around and help them. This is our signature item, the analytic mind between the lines. So it's a double wild icon. Min Team Path deck only. You may commit 1 card to each skill test performed by another investigator at another location. After you commit exactly 1 card to a skill test, exhaust Analytic Mind and draw 1 card. So you don't even have to follow them if you have this card out. It's an asset, so you play it and it stays on the table. So you can chuck cards like all over wherever you are. And that sounds really good. And when you commit 1 card, you get to draw a card. So yeah, that sounds really good. Her signature weakness though, oof, it is bad. It is like, I had to read it like 3 times to understand. So it's the King in Yellow, Act 1. And the King of Yellow, I believe is what the Path to Carcosa will be a bit about. It's a play which drives people mad. I'm not entirely sure, but so it's a weakness tome. So Agnes, no, oh my, what's her name? The core, Daisy. Daisy will like it. Of course, she cannot take it, I'm just kidding, but the tome is so. So, Revelation. Put king in yellow into play in your threat area. It cannot leave play except by its reaction ability below. You cannot commit exactly 1 or 2 cards to a skill test. After a skill test is succeeded in which Min has committed at least 6 matching icons for this test, discard the king in yellow. I have never ever seen someone commit 6 icons to a test. That is ridiculously high. And you kind of have to do this as soon as you can, because you're the skill support role. Your biggest role will be to commit skill cards to test. And if you have this, you cannot commit. You cannot commit 1 or 2 cards. You can commit 0 cards, which won't really do anything, or you could commit 3, 4, 5, 6 cards. Probably 6 cards you will have to commit. It's worth noticing that her reaction will trigger for one of your cards. So you actually only have to commit 5 matching icons, but that's still a lot. I don't know how many skill cards you want in Min though. You might be wanting like a good chunk, like maybe half or something. I don't think she's very good in solo. I think she's probably one of the worst in solo. I haven't tried her, so I might be super wrong, but let's see it at her backside. Min. Dex I 30, Seeker card level 0 to 5, Neutral card 0 to 5, and Survival card 0 to 2. So she's kind of like the core investigators in that sense. So let's see, what kind of level 2 Seeker cards are there that you might want to pack? Let's look at the skill first, because there's only 5 of them. Survival Instinct level 0 and level 2 she could take. I never tried Survival Instinct, but I don't think it's a good card. As I said that with Mark, I think it's better just to kill stuff. Stroke of Luck though, I think this card will really be good in Min. So Stroke of Luck, you commit to a skill test. With Min, that will be a what is it called? Unexpected Courage, because it'll gain a wild icon. After revealing a case token, you may choose to exile Stroke of Luck, and if you do, you automatically success. If you manage to draw the Elder Sign and pass the test, you get it back. Might be good. Rise to the Occasion, that's another skill test that at first I thought it looked so good. 3 wild icons, but you have to commit it only to a test where you are 2 or higher, like where your base is 2 away from the max. But if you do it with Min, this will be 4 wilds. So even if you're 2 under the threshold, you'll be 2 above it with Min's ability. Might be good. Another things you could take, Lucky, always a good card. Dark Horse. I haven't really thought of it, but it actually might work very well with Min, because if she's packing a lot of skills doesn't cost resources, so she could potentially use Dark Horse to bump herself up. She'll be very strong with Dark Horse, to be honest. 5-5-3-3. What kind of ally does she want? That's a good question. I don't. Probably Milan. She can investigate quite easily, but I'm not sure. There might come like an investigator that boosts the skills in some way. We'll see. Or well, Peter. Always good to have Peter if you can, because he's one of the best ally in the game. Yeah. Rabbitfoot, maybe. I think she wants to have a lot of card draw. Skill tests, they only last for 1 test. So you need to have a good, reliable way to draw cards. buying the, what is it called? The core set, Cryptic Research, which lets you draw 3 cards, might be very good for her. But yeah, we'll see. I probably won't try her unless I'm like a 3 or 4 man group. I think there's better options in a 2-man group. But yeah, that's what I will call her, the skill support character. This is Safina Rose. I should have probably read this before. Safina Rosea? Rosea? I'm not entirely sure. Safina, at least. The painter. So she's rogue artist. So her stats, they're kind of weird. 4 will, 2 intellect, 2 combo, and 4 agility. She has 5 HP, or 5 health, and 9 sanity. So I believe that's what Rex has as well. And then she has a forced. When you withdraw your opening hand, draw 13 cards instead. Choose up to 5 events and place them beneath this card and keep 8 cards in your opening hand. Discard the rest. And you cannot mulligan. So, for anyone who has played Android Netrunner, this is pretty much Andromeda. Every runner in that game start with 5 cards, Andromeda start with 8. And Safina will start with 8 cards as well. So, and then she has action. Choose an event beneath it card and draw it. Does not provoke attack of opportunity. And her Elder Sign is +3. You may choose an event beneath it card and draw it. So +3, I believe it's the highest, like, base, for example, Agnes, she can get +7 or something. Jenny can get +infinity. But +3, like, it doesn't matter what circumstance. I think that's the highest, at least in the game right now. So Safina, if Min was the skill card investigator, Safina will be the event investigator. Her stats are very bad, I think. Because willpower and agility, they don't progress the game. Intellect and combat, that's what you use to find clues and kill enemies, which are like the staple of the game. So yeah, she's very bad in the stats department though. But I think we have to look at the bigger picture. Let's continue with her backside first. So deck side 33, that's new. That's 3 more cards you have to work with. Rogue card level 0 to 5, neutral 0 to 5, and mystic 0 to 2. And then her requirements: 3 copies of the Painted World. So that's her signature cards. You get 3 of her signature cards. That's the first time we have seen that as well. 1 copy of Star of Hyenas, and 1 random basic weakness. So she's very, very interesting. Let's look at her signature cards. So this is the Painted World. Safina's deck only. And you cannot place this underneath Safina. So if you draw this in your opening hand, you cannot choose this event and put under her. Play the Painted World as an exact copy of the non-exceptional event that is beneath Safina. Remove the Painted World from the game instead of discarding it. So this is a really interesting card. You get 3 of them, remember. So if an event is under Safina, you can play that card multiple times with this card. You still have to pay the cost for it. So if it's a 3 cost event, you pay 3, even though the Painted World doesn't cost anything, because you play it as an exact copy. If that card you want to play is fast, Painted World will be fast. If it has restriction for something like play only after blah blah blah, you can only play it after that thing has happened. First thing to cover, probably, Dwell Too Deep. People have been talking a lot of this. This is an event from the Miskatonic Museum in the Dunwich Legacy. In player order, each investigator draw one card on top of the encounter deck, then add Dwell to Deep to the victory display, 1 victory point. And this is an event, Mystic, so Safina could take it. People said, like, if this was under Safina, you could keep playing Painted World and potentially get like 3 victory points from the Painted World and then 1 more from Dwell to Deep. Potentially 2 if you had 2 Dwell to Deeps. The thing is, if you play Painted World on the Dwell to Deep, you all get to draw encounter cards in order, and then you add Painted World to the victory display. But the thing is, it doesn't remember that it is 12 to deep, so it goes back to Painted World. So you'll have Painted World in the victory display, but it won't give you any victory points. So don't do that. Yeah, so you can't delve too deep with Painted World. You can, but you will only get the bad stuff. And then let's talk about her signature weakness. So it's a treachery weakness. Curse. Revelation. Randomly choose an event beneath Safina and remove it from the game. If cannot, take 1 damage and 1 horror. If you have 5 or more cards in your deck, if your deck has 5 or more cards in it, shuffle Start of Hygienas back into your deck instead of discarding it. So this is a weakness that'll come back. Let's see, this sounds like... yeah, okay, it's just... yeah. So this weakness will come back and back until your deck is almost dried out, which seems really annoying. At first, it won't really do much. You'll get to remove a card under you, which might be really bad, because you probably put your best events under Safina. So if you can anyway, you want to mill this card, because if it goes into your discard pile, it will stay there. It will only shuffle backs if the revelation triggers by you drawing this card. Worth noticing, when you draw your opening hand, if you draw, let's see, maybe this is too small. Maybe it always has been that. I probably should have zoomed in quite a lot. Yeah, that's bad of me. Should have thought of that. When you draw your opening hand, your maybe it got too big now actually. Let's see, can I zoom out? I think that's good. When you draw your opening hand, if you draw weakness, you can still mulligan those away. Those are not part of the mulligan. So you won't have like your basic weakness and your personal weakness in your opening hand and be like, oh no, I cannot mulligan these away. You still get to mulligan those away. So what kind of cards does she want in her deck? I think like, let's see. She want, if we start by looking in the rogue, and then we'll look at the event cards. So there aren't a lot of rogue events, as you see. Ace in the Hole, that gives you 3 additional action. That would be so sweet if you could play, but however, it's an exceptional card, so you cannot Paint World this. You can still have it under Safina and then draw it up, but you cannot Paint World it. What I think you probably, right now at least, what I'm thinking, Hot Streak, if you manage to Paint World that, that's 7 resources every time you do it. Emergency Cash, which gives you 3 resources, will be good as well. Sure Gamble, you can actually Paint World, which might be good. Turning a minus to a plus will actually probably save you quite a lot of times if you're fighting or investigating. What I'm thinking probably will really help her, it's Backstab, because you fight with agility and it does 3 damage. Safina is quite fast, she has 4 in agility, and she can also take Streetwise. Is that how you spell it? Yeah. Which boost agility by 3. So yeah, might want to include that. Yeah, there aren't a lot of events for Rogue though, but I think like just recurring hot streaks or emergency cash, that's actually kind of good. Then we'll look at, because you can also take mystic cards, and we have to look at the mystic cards to really justify her. Here we go. There are quite a lot of mystic cards level 0 to 2. I want to look at the red ones because they are part of the Carcosa. So there are quite a lot. Blinding Monster though, I don't think you want. Blinding Light, I don't think you want either. Let's see what kind of other ones. Drawn to the Flames. If you can recur this, you get to discover clues, 2 clues for every Drawn to the Flame. Sorry. But you have to draw an encounter card. She has good willpower, 4, but if a monster comes, she's not a fighter. So, yeah. Hypnotic Gaze. It's that expensive dodge. I don't think it's worth. Moonlight Ritual. She doesn't really have. If she could take the Blood Pact, the permanent mystic, and recurrent Moonlight Rituals, that would be really good. But right now she can't, and they're the ones that can produce Doom is Alicia, which actually might be good now when I look at it. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But I think what she really wants from the Mystics, Word of Protection though, that if you manage to get Word of Protection under Safina, that's really good. Because she has 9 horror or sanity. She could take 9 horror. If you manage to get a Word of Protection underneath her, you can paint well that a couple of times. If you manage to like remove 2 cards, that's super good. You don't remove the cards, but you skip the revelation effect, which is most of the time the bad part. What I think she wants is shriveling. She can only take the level 0 shriveling and maybe Rite of Seeking, depending on which investigator you have with you. She's very different from Skid and Jenny. She seems like a lot of fun though. So let's see. A normal investigator has 33 cards in his or her deck and get to draw 5 cards. So they'll have 27 cards when the game starts in their deck. Safina will have 33 plus 3 plus 2. So she'll have 28 cards in her deck and then she'll draw 13 cards. So she'll start with 25 cards in her deck. That's 3. She'll start with 3 less cards in her deck actually. So she'll go through her deck faster, which might be something to consider. Yeah, because her personal weakness really wants to. It probably will show up a lot of times. That's what I'm saying. Another thing to consider though, about this forced, which I forgot to mention, discard the rest. You choose 5 cards and place them underneath the card. Keep 8 and discard the rest. If you don't have 5 events or don't want to play 5 events under her, you have to. If you have like 4 events and 9 assets, you have to discard 1 asset. So think of that. Okay, I think we have to go on now. This is taking a lot of time. I thought I wouldn't have anything to talk about. So this is Akechi Ongiel. Mystic, Sorcerer, Willpower 5, Intellect 2, Combat 3, and Agility 3. So like Mark, she has 13 in stat-wise. 6 health and 8 sanity, which is 14. Yeah, that's like the other. Yeah. Your assets with use charges enter play with 1 additional charge on them. and then Elder Sign is +1. Add 1 charge to an asset with used charges on you control. Yeah. And then we'll look at her signature card. There's not much to say. In the stats, she's kind of strong for a mystic. She has 3 in combat, which is actually kind of strong. So she can probably fight, but as a mystic, you don't really want to fight with your hand. You want to fight with spells. This is the Spirit Speaker, Envoy of the Owlies. You have to excuse me when I'm butchering those words. I catch this deck only. Fast. Exhaust Spirit Speaker. Choose an asset you control with use charges. So use charges, this is called like Shriveling, Rite of Seeking. Now I can't think of any other card. Forbidden Knowledge maybe? I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, you choose one of those. Either return that asset to your hand or move all of those charges from that asset to your resource pool as resources and discard that asset. So this is a really good card, I think. I'm not entirely sure how often you will use the secondary effect, but this first effect, it's essentially replenish your Shriveling or Rite of Seeking, which sounds so strong to me. Because the thing about Shriveling is you get to play it 4 times. 3 times? 4 times. Yeah, 4 times. And after that, they're gone. But with this, you can keep replaying that card. Because when you return it to hand and play it again, I'll have 4 more charges on it. Yeah. So let's see. Is the Forbidden Knowledge? Because if Forbidden Knowledge is charges, then that will be bonkers, though. I don't think it is, actually, though. Forbidden Knowledge. There we go. No, it's secrets. Yeah, I thought so. I tried to like charges. Let's see if this works. Yeah. Okay, so there's a couple of new cards. We won't look at them though. Clarity of Mind. I'll come up with 4. I still don't think it's a good card though, because you have to spend 1 action to heal a horror. Ooh. The Grotesque Statue though. That comes in with 5 charges. That sounds really good. The Grotesque Statue, I haven't really had time to play with it, or chance. I haven't played a lot of Mystic at all, but getting to control 5 tokens, that sounds strong. Rite of Seeking, I mean, depending if you're playing with a Seeker or Guardian, you might want to pack Rite of Seeking or Shriveling. I think you probably want to upgrade to Shriveling level 5 with her quite fast. The negative take 2 horror, it's not great for her. She has 8, I mean, so she could do it a couple of times. Song of the Dead, just pack Shriveling. Song of the Dead is not a good card. It works maybe in gym, but I don't know. And then let's look at her. Yeah, it has a wild intellect and will icon, but I think you probably most of the time will just play it for the ability. And I mean, getting the money, I might be overlooking it. And it wouldn't surprise me if FFG somehow managed to like release up, I don't know, 1 resource 5 charge asset sometimes in the future, and you can just recur that to gain lots of money fast. This is Angry Spirits. There are no image because I mean this is the 21st of August when I'm recording this, so I think they have released the picture here. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, Angered Spirits, that's the picture. So it's a bit small. But we have the text what it does at least. So revelation, put Angered Spirit in your threat area. Fast, exhaust the spell asset, move one charge from that asset to Angered Spirit. Forced, when the game ends, if Angered Spirit has fewer than 4 charges on it, suffer 1 physical trauma. Yeah, so it's not mental, it's physical, which is probably worse. How hard is this? It'll take 4 turns no matter what, right? Because you cannot ready this. You might be able to ready it somehow, but if you're not, this will take 4 turns. It's not really a hard thing to do. Well, it actually is. There are not that many cards with charges, but you probably want to have like all the cards with charges if you're playing Akachi. Remember that they enter with 1 additional charge, so this will go a little bit faster. But thanks to the Spirit Speaker, you probably will be able to recur them and recur the asset and drop more charges on the Angered Spirit. Remember that like cards like let's see, cards like Shivering. When the charges have been depleted, this card doesn't. You don't throw this card away. So if you have used all your 4 charges of 5 with Akechi, you can use Exhausted Spirit Speaker to get that card up. So you don't have to do it with like 1 charge left. You can use all the charges. So let's see. She's 30 cards, Mystic card level 0 to 5, Neutral 0 to 5, card with charges 0 to 4. Right now the only cards that have charges are Mystic, so this essentially says nothing. And Occult card level 0. Currently, we don't have the Occult trait yet. No card has the Occult trait. A card that has been spoiled has the Occult trait. But I won't talk about that card since we won't talk about cards that haven't been released yet. So that's Akechi. Yeah, she seems like a strong spellcaster. Like, just continue throwing shivering at people. Next one, this is William Jorick, the Gravedigger. So let's see, we have a picture of him as well. So where is he? Here. So this is William. He's a Gravedigger. Yeah, he got his shovel, his lantern. So yeah, we'll look at this card for now here. 3 will, 2 intellect, 4 combat, and 3 agility. That's probably that is the strongest survivor so far. I mean, Duke, the dog, has 4 as well, even though the Duke is an asset, but you all know what I mean. You play as Duke when you play Pete. So, Wanderer, reaction. After you defeat an enemy, play an asset from your discard pile, paying its cost, limit once per round. Elder Sign, +2. If this test is successful, return 1 card from your discard pile to your hand. And yes, 8 health and 6 sanity. So this is recursion, like good recursion, I think. After you kill something, you get to play an asset. And it's not like, what's that card called? Scavenging. You can play a non-item card. Which sounds really strong to me. You can get recur stuff like the flashlight, the cat, stray cat, but there's better stuff to recur. So let's look a bit on his deck building options. Survivor 0 to 5, Neutral 0 to 5, and Guardian 0 to 2. And I think this is what really makes him good. So Guardian 0 to 2, he can recur the 45 automatic. You have to have a way to discard it though, which might be a little clunky. I think the recurring the beat cop level 2 will be so good, because the level 2 cop, you exhaust the beat cop and do 1 damage to itself, to the cop, and 1 damage to the enemy. If you manage to kill the enemy with the beat cop, this is after you defeat an enemy, you get to play a card. So after, the beat cop will already be in your graveyard, or discard pile, and then you can play him again if you have the money though, but still, that seems really good. Oh, I've been talking non-stop for 50 minutes now. My throat is starting to hurt a bit. Yeah, but tea helps. Yeah, and with the beat cop though, you'll be up to 5 combat, which sounds really good to me. He's strong as like Mark. He without beat cop, he's strong as Roland and Zoe. So I don't know what's up with that. That sounds really good. What more can you take? Guard dog, you might want to recur if you somehow manage to lose your machete. The police badge, I haven't really used it a lot, but it gives you 1 will, and you can discard it to take 2 additional turns. If you manage to recur the police badge, that's so great. You still have to find enemies, so you probably want an enemy as your personal weakness, like your basic weakness. But yeah, if you don't have a guardian and you'll be the main killer in the group, recurring police badge seems really good. His elder sign, you get to return any card, so it doesn't have to be an asset. You can recur vicious blow, you can recur dodge, what more? Evidence, and of course it's not just Guardian. You have a lot of stuff in Survivor. Let's see. Dark Horse, I don't think it actually helps him though, because I think William probably will want to have a lot of money, being able to pay the assets when he kills stuff. So I don't think Dark Horse work very well with him. Picking up Lucky would be super good. Yeah. Recurring the leather coat. I haven't even thought of the neutral card though, to be honest. So yeah, William seems really strong. Let's look at his personal item. Bury them deep. We'll look over here where we have a picture of it. Where is it? I know it's there somewhere. Let's just scroll for it. Lola. Bury them deep. So this is his signature card. Will, Combat, and Wild. Williams take only. Fast. Play after a non-elite enemy at your location is defeated. Add that enemy and this card to the victory display. And it's 1 victory. So that is a signature card that gives you victory point. And if you play this every scenario, that'll net you 7 victory points. Let's see. There we go. 7 victory points. And that seems really strong. It doesn't cost anything. So if you ever kill something and have this card, you can play it. Sometimes you maybe want to save it to remove, because you remove the enemy from the game, it doesn't come back. And like getting the spears from the Dunwich Legacy to be gone forever, that would be nice, even though they usually don't come back. Getting a Whippoorwill gone forever. So this seems strong. You can't use it on elite enemies because but I think this is really good card. It helps with the survivors exile mechanic. They probably want to rebuy cards, stuff like flare and so. So if you have this, it'll be easier to repurchase those cards. And this victory is for everyone, so you're sharing the victory with everyone. Personal weakness, graveyard ghouls. Let's see if we have the picture of them as well. Here we have. So it's an enemy, so that's actually good for him, because he wants to kill stuff. 3 combat, 3 elf, and 2 agility. Prey, William only, hunter. So what, as my understanding is, if they have prey for a character and hunter, they'll pretty much be aloof to the other investigators. So if you're at the same, if you're not William and are at the same location as these graveyard ghouls, they don't engage you. While graveyard ghouls engage you, cards cannot leave your discard pile. So they essentially block his entire recursion part. They hit for 1 horror, 1 damage, the other way around. I'm not entirely sure though how the interaction works. Yeah, probably. When you kill this, you're not engaged with it anymore. And William says that after you have defeated an enemy, play an asset. So if you kill this, you still get to recur something. That's how I think it works. If I'm wrong, please correct me. Yeah, but recurring stuff like the police badge, that sounds so good. Yeah, that is William. And that's the 5 investigators, right? We only have 5 investigators. Yeah, 5 investigators. Not really, right? You all know what's coming. This is Lola. I think she's the Lola Hayes, the actress. I think she's the first investigator that was spoiled for this box. She's neutral, so this is the first neutral investigator we have. She has 3 willpower, 3 intellect, 3 combat, and 3 agility, and she has 6 health and 6 sanity, which is really on the lower scale. Forced. After you draw your opening hand, choose a role, and then there's Survivor, Guardian, Seeker, Rogue, Mystic, or Neutral. You can only play, commit, or trigger abilities on neutral cards or cards of your role. And then fast, switch your role, limit once per round, and then Elder Sign +2, you may switch roles. Wow. So that's a lot to get. I think we have to look at her backside first before we start looking at others. So deck size 35, so that's even higher than Safina. Deck building options. Survivor Guardian. Every class she can take 0 to 3, and neutral she can take 0 to 5. So she can pick cards from any class. That seems strong and hard. Then there's the requirement. 2 copies of improvisation, which is her signature card. 2 copies of Crisis of Identity. So I believe this is the first time we have ever had multiple of your signature weakness and 1 random weakness. And then additional requirement. So this is like Rex, I believe. No, wait, he has restriction. Anyhow, your deck must include at least 7 cards from 3 different classes. Just by doing this, you'll have 21 cards. So you still have to add 14 cards. And those 14 cards could be from the 2 classes you didn't choose, or you can add more cards of the 3 you chose. She'll be hard to deck build for. Really hard. Let's look at her signature card though first, and signature weakness. So this is improvisation, event, insight. Cost 0, and there's 2 wild. And there's Lola, I believe. Fast. Play only during your turn. Switch your role. So you get to switch your role. Until the end of your turn, reduce the resource cost of the next card you play by 3. Draw 1 card. So this is an emergency cash-ish, which also replenishes itself. So it's like an upgraded emergency cash, but you get the switch roll. Remember that you can only play cards of the roll you're currently. So if you have like a machete, and you're currently at the survivor roll, you cannot play the machete. You cannot use the machete if you have it in play either. So I don't know, you probably will have to have like some kind of dice or something with like the colors to know, to keep track of which role you're at. Because if I'm playing Lola in a 4-player game, I'll probably forget which role I was. So yeah, you probably want to have some way of keeping a way to remember which role you are. Because this is a strong restriction. You can only play, commit, or trigger abilities of cards of your role. You cannot commit card like Vicious Blow if you're Seeker. You cannot commit Deduction if you're Guardian. Stuff like that. So she'll be really hard to play. Passive abilities like the Beat Cop, which gives you +1 damage. You'll still get this even if you're not Guardian, the passive ability. Though you can't use this fast if you're not Guardian. So improvisation, you get to play a card for 3 less than it usually costs. And then Crisis of Identity. So it's a Treasury, Madness, Revelation. Discard all cards you control of your current role. Then discard the top card of your deck. Switch your role to the class of the discard card. If the discard card has a weakness, switch your role to neutral. So, when I first read this, I thought you discarded the cards in your hand of your current role. Now I think you discard all your... I had to sneeze there for a moment, it felt like. I think you have to discard all your assets. So if you have like 3 rogue card assets and a rogue skill card in your hand, and you draw this and your roll is rogue. That's a hard sentence. You have to discard all those assets and the cards in your hand. That's how I think it's ruled. I'm not entirely sure. You might have to correct me on that one. I'm pretty sure you discard the asset at least. And that's a horrible weakness. That is so horrible. And remember, you have 2 of these in your deck. So you're going to get like lose 2 out of your 3 classes. Yeah, I don't know really what to say about this card. I think if it works like how I imagine it, it's horrible to draw. You never want to see this card, and you're going to see it because it's Arkham Horror. You get your weaknesses. So how do you play Lola? I think you play a lot of passive abilities, stuff like that gives you Beat Cop, Melan, Cat Burglary, stuff like that. She can take all of the permanent talents, like Key 9, Higher Education, Streetwise, Bloodpack, and Scrapper. That seems really good. Remember that you can't use it though if you're not the active role. Like taking Higher Education and Scrapper, that'll be 6 experience point, but then you'll have all of them covered. Seems really good. I think she's like on the difficulty level. I think she's definitely the hardest. Don't play Lola if you're not really don't really know the card pool well, or what your fellow investigators are playing. Like if you have one that plays the Guardian, you can fill the Seeker role, or vice versa. You can be like the support role. I think since I I don't think you often want to go beyond 3 classes, so maybe like splash a 4th, probably never 5. And I think you'd build like one main, so maybe you have 13 cards of one card, around maybe 10 of another one, and then 12 of the second. Oh, okay, well, maybe 15 of one and 10 of the other two, or something like that. I think that's how you have to play it. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, that is Lola. She's definitely hard. She has low sanity and health. Her stats is like Jenny, but much harder to play than Jenny. So that's the 6 investigators we're getting for the Path to Carcosa. I am so excited though about these. They seem so much fun to play, all of them. Yeah, I hope you enjoy my first look at these investigator. We've been talking for almost an hour now, so if any of you managed to make it this far, wow, I really appreciate it. If you have any comments though, like deck buildings or stuff I might have been wrong about, please comment in the comment section below, and I'll read all of the comments. Yeah, I probably will go over the investigator cards at a later date. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Happy Arkham horror. I don't know what I'm saying now. I'm a bit tired. Happy screw it. See ya.